Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. اللهم اجعل ما نقوله ونفعله خالصا لوجهك الكريم. بداية أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم باستشهاد حبيبنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. Second of all, I am really honored once again to be able to speak to all of you for the second time after yesterday's lecture. I also thank all of you for coming. Again, those who attended yesterday, those who didn't attend yesterday, thank you for coming. I know that some of you have long trips to come to this area, since I know that some brothers live like 1 hour away or something, so thank you for coming. Since today's lecture is in honor of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I chose to talk about religion and perfection. And inshallah, I hope that at the end of the lecture, if you inshallah focus with me and follow the points, then inshallah you will have a new understanding of religion. And for you to reap the most benefit from what I am going to say, I think you need to reflect upon what I'm going to say at home, while you're going back home, the next day, the next few days. Then inshallah you will reap the most benefit from the lecture. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. I'm going to start off with a question, just like yesterday. The question is, why do we do what we do? Because every day we make a lot of decisions. It starts when we wake up in the morning. You go into your closet, you open it, and you choose to wear this dress and not this dress. You choose to eat this food and not this kind of food. When you buy a car, you buy this car, not that car. And so on and so forth. But why do we choose what we choose? There needs to be something that happens within us that makes us choose this over that. So, why do we choose what we choose? There must be something, there must be a measurement. Based on that, I choose this color and not this color. This hoodie and not this hoodie. This car, not this car. This woman, that woman. This husband, that husband. So there is something that happens within us, and we should know based on what do we take our decisions, right? So why do we choose what we choose? What are we looking for? Because we're going to say that there is something that we're looking for, and based on that we choose what we choose every day, on a daily basis. Usually, I've never spoke about the subject in a lecture before, but usually when I chat with friends, people, family, when we have a talk, I ask them this question. But I don't give them the answer right away. I tell them, "Khalas, just think about it." And then after a while, a few months, weeks, maybe years, when I go back to them and I ask them, "What's your answer to the question I asked you?" Most of them tell me, "What was the question again?" They forgot the question, So I wasn't successful, so far. But anyway, now I'm going to give you the answer right away, but think about it. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you do not agree with me. So the question is, why do we do what we do? The answer is, we choose what we choose based on what we see as kamal and perfection. So whatever we do, whatever we choose, every single time, we do it based on perfection and kamal. I'm going to switch between these two words. Sometimes I'm going to say kamal, sometimes I'm going to say perfection, but it's the same thing. So we do what we do because we see some sort of perfection in it. If we don't recognize any perfection in any deed, then we're not going to do it. We're not going to go for it. So for example, those who drink alcohol, they only drink alcohol because they see some sort of perfection in it. Because if you do not see any sort of perfection, you're not going to do that deed. That's why none of us would ever think to eat rotten food. If you see food in front of you that's rotten, you will not even think to eat that food because it's rotten food. And from here we can understand the Imams a little bit better when we talk about their asma, because they're infallible. They don't see any kamal, no perfection at all in committing sins. So that's why they don't even think about committing a sin. Just like how you would never ever think to eat rotten food or do other actions. They don't even come to your mind, even as a theory. Even if you want to assume, like, would I do that? You don't even think about it. Because there's no kamal, no perfection in this deed at all. طيب. So once you see kamal in something, once you recognize kamal, you start working for it with no effort at all. I don't need to come and push you. You don't need anyone to motivate you. You just go for it. You do it because you recognize kamal in this action. So you alone start walking for it. هلا أنا بعد شوي in a little I'm going to say something else. I'm going to say that you're walking every second. But then I will explain it better in a little. So once you see kamal in something, you go for it. No one needs to motivate you, no one needs to push you, no one needs to do anything. And we can see that clearly in something we all can relate to. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Some sound issues, we can. There's an example that we all can relate to. It is when somebody falls in love with the other gender. Be it a woman falls in love with a man or a man falls in love with a woman. All they can think about is that person. When they go to bed, when they sleep, and they get a call at 2 a.m., they're happy to receive a call from that who they love. They don't feel any tiredness. They wake up, they speak on the phone all the day, all they think about is that person. They open WhatsApp 50 times per second just to check if they're online or no, if they replied or no, because you see perfection in that person. So you don't feel aslan any tiredness. You just go, you just do what you have to do, and with full pleasure. You have the honor if they call you at 3 a.m. and wake you up from your sleep. So you don't feel you're not tired from that because you see perfection in that person. So, or when somebody is obsessed with soccer, football, all they can think about, they watch every single match, he buys clothes of football, like his bed leaves are all like with football, his food, his drinks, everything that he does, his cups, it's all about football because he loves football, he's obsessed with football, so there's no one pushes him. He doesn't need motivation to watch a football game or to go play football because he's obsessed. So he sees perfection in football, so he moves with no one pushing him. Right, so same thing when we talk about perfection and kamal. And actually this point solves a problem when it comes to willpower, because many people ask me, I don't have enough willpower to wake up, pray Fajr, I don't have enough willpower to read a book, I don't have enough willpower to be disciplined in my life, to do this, to do that, to go to the gym. But the problem is that they don't see that deed that they want to do as something that has perfection, or let's say enough perfection. If they saw that this deed has perfection more than anything else, then they would go for it automatically. They would do it automatically without anyone pushing them towards it. So anyway, this could solve a problem when it comes to willpower, because I'm going to say that we're moving all the time in a little. So we're all basically looking for kamal and perfection. Even the one person who sits on the phone all day and does nothing because he sees perfection in doing that, that's why he does it. If he doesn't see perfection in it, he's not going to do it. So even if you're sleeping all day, you're sleeping because you see perfection in sleeping. You don't see perfection in going to work or being productive. طيب صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. From here they say that most of the Quran doesn't mention any proofs. The Quran is all tasawwurat, images, pictures. The Quran tells us what Allah is doing, what Allah did, His attributes. Allah is merciful, Allah is strong, Allah is this, Allah is that. But we don't find many proofs in the Quran because we don't need these proofs. Because the Quran is trying to tell us the perfection. It's trying to tell us that Allah Azza wa Jal, He is the perfection. He is the most perfect. That's why you don't find many proofs in the Quran that prove the existence of Allah Azza wa Jal or any other things. Because the Quran, we're going to say, came to show us the perfection and where we can find the absolute perfection, which is Allah Azza wa Jal. So from here, we can say that people are misled sometimes, or often, because they think Kamal is in money, perfection is in gathering money, perfection is in lusts, perfection is in ranks, perfection is in positions. So that's why they go for these things. But there is no real Kamal, there is no absolute Kamal, there is no unlimited Kamal except the existence of Allah Azza wa Jal. And from here, this is very interesting, some Urafa, when it comes to the following verse, they explain it in a beautiful way. When it comes to the verse that says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. And your Lord has decreed that you worship none but Him. They say, that what kind of decree is that? What kind of qada is that? Because we have two types of qada. We have al-qada al-tashri'i and we have al-qada al-takwini. So what's the difference between them? Al-qada al-tashri'i would say the legislative decree. So for example, as-salat, as-sawm, prayer, fasting, all these wajibat and muharramat, they are from al-qada al-tashri'i. That means you can do them and you cannot do them. It's up to you. And Allah Azza wa Jal requests you to do them, He asks you to do them, but you have the choice to do them and not to do them. This is qada al-tashri'i. And then we have something called al-qada al-takwini, the real decree, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, the creational decree. That decree, you don't have any choice. When we talk about the creational decree, it's like us being the creation of Allah and Allah Azza wa Jal being the creator. We have no choice. We are the creation regardless. Whatever we do will always be the creation. And Allah Azza wa Jal is the creator. So we are abd lillah, we are creation of Allah by the qada al-takwini, by the creational decree. So when it comes to this verse where Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, some Urafa say that this qada is al-qada al-takwini, the creational decree. Yani, we are all somehow forced to worship Allah Azza wa Jal because we are all looking for al-kamal. Everyone, Allah, you see the people around you in the whole world, whatever they do, whatever action they take, they are looking for al-kamal. They are looking for perfection. But some lose the road and the way, they look for kamal in the wrong direction. But they don't find the real kamal. Inshallah, I'll be talking about this point a little bit more. But once we understand this point, I think our perspective should change a little bit. Because now we see that people do what they do because they're all looking for kamal. It's one thing that makes us all move. But because we have a different tashkhis, we say, because I see that, no, this is right, this is kamal, this is not kamal, we make different decisions. But in the real term, we're all looking for al-kamal. We're all looking for Allah Azza wa Jal without knowing it. That's why the verse says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. طيب. So, once we realize that the real perfection and the real kamal is only Allah Azza wa Jal, we're going to move towards Him and look for Him. But I mentioned something that I want to explain now. I said we're always moving. Remember, I don't know, maybe you saw it back in the days, I don't know if these toys still exist now, but we had these toys that you can on the back, you can flip that thing and they start working, right? So once we are born, we are just like that toy. We're moving regardless. We're moving all the time, but you have to place that toy in the right direction for it to go on the right path. So we are moving all the time. We have the willpower all the time, but it depends on our definition of perfection. Once I see that this is the right path to perfection, then I go the right path of perfection. When I'm misled, when I see perfection in something else, then I will waste my time and my power in order to find the real perfection. Right. Because once we find Allah Azza wa Jal, then our hearts will rest. Elsewise, if we do not find Allah Azza wa Jal, if we keep going to these wrong types of perfection, if we're in the wrong section, then we won't rest. And that is why we jump from app to app. We keep going from game to game, from movie to movie, from series to series. Because we are trying to find something. But once we finish that thing, we go to the other thing, to the next thing. Because we see, no, like I'm not satisfied yet. I'm still looking for something else. Hala, if you're lucky, you get bored. If you get bored from all the games and movies and Netflix and everything, then this is a blessing actually. Because when you're bored, you're going to think. When you think, that means you might have the chance to get out of the pattern that they put us in. Because I remember back in my time, in my days, when I wanted to watch a movie, I would wait every Friday night, 8:15, they would play a blockbuster. We would wait to watch the movie. Now you have Netflix, you have internet, you have everything. Well, back then, no, we had no choice. 8:15 the movie starts, you have to sit and watch the movie. If you're late, that's it. You cannot go back, you cannot pause. When they would play commercial, we'd go make popcorn, use the bathroom, whatsoever. But now you have a good, khalas, you watch 10 movies in the same day. Back then that wasn't possible. But that was good back then. Now you keep just consuming from app to app, yalla, TikTok done, Instagram, Facebook. You don't have time to think. When you're bored, you open your phone right away. But actually it's good to be bored, because then you'll be able to think. Once you think, then you're like, okay, what is wrong? What am I doing wrong? Because like some people, let's say the governments, the big guys, they want to keep us busy. Yalla, just keep doing what you're doing, eat, drink, sleep, watch, that's it. Don't think about anything. But we have to think actually, in order to find the right direction and the right path. So since we're in the wrong direction, we have to go towards the right direction. Or elsewise, like I mentioned, we'll just keep going from one thing to another thing. But once we reach Allah, once we get on the path to Allah Azza wa Jal, then we will rest and we will find peace. And this is what the Quran says about Jannah. When the Quran talks about Jannah, the Quran says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَانَتْ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ نُزُلًا خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا لَا يَبْغُونَ عَنْهَا حِوَلًا. So the Quran says, verily those who believe and do righteous deeds shall have gardens of Al-Firdaus for their entertainment. Therein they will abide, and never will they desire any change therefrom. Once you reach Jannah, you will not look for anything else. You're not going to ask, do you want to change? Because some people say, I used to ask this question when I was younger, and what am I going to do in Jannah? It's going to get boring. But once we realize that Jannah is infinite, it's unlimited, because you get boring of something when it's limited. Once you get it, then you're like, okay, khalas, you lose interest. But Jannah, because it is connected to Allah Azza wa Jal and His perfection and His unlimited perfection, Jannah is unlimited as well. So don't worry, once you get to Jannah, you're not going to get bored. You'll have entertainment, because it's unlimited. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He is the real absolute perfection. And everything that is connected to Allah Azza wa Jal also has some sort of this perfection. That's why only there our hearts will find rest and peace. Anything else you do, you'll still feel that you're not at rest completely. You'll still be looking for something and searching for something. From here, there's a narration, but I remember it for it to be a weak narration, but still I can share it with you. The narration says that Jibreel alayhi salam was talking to the Prophet, and then he started laughing. So the Prophet told him, why are you laughing? He said, because people are looking for something, he tells him, because people are looking for something, but it doesn't exist in Dar al-Dunya. He tells him, what is it? He says, al-Raha. He says, they're looking for al-Raha, they're looking for comfort, but comfort doesn't exist for Dar al-Dunya. It wasn't made for Dar al-Dunya. Yet they still look for it and search for it. It was made for the hereafter. So same thing, sometimes you will look for the absolute perfection in materialistic things, whereas these are not absolute perfection. That's why I think there's a quote, I remember, I don't know who says it, but he says, those who think that happiness lays in money or is in money never had money. Because once you have money, you're like, okay, that's not it. This is not what I was looking for. And I can tell you from now, anything you strive for, you look for, when you think that once I reach that level, khalas, I'm good, I'm satisfied, no, you won't be good, you won't be satisfied. You will keep looking for something else. Allah kaman, I remembered something, one of the scholars says that al-insan has so much tama'. I don't know the word of tama', maybe Allah, I remember it in English. But he has so much, and he will not get satisfied that even if he owned the whole planet, he will look for another planet to own. This is the human being. So anyway, whatever you look for in this dunya, if you have the mindset that once I reach this level or that thing, then I'll be satisfied, I'll be happy. No, you won't be satisfied and you won't be happy, because these are all limited perfections. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. There's a proof to Allah's existence that I would like to share with you, but the proof is a little bit, let's say, heavy, because we're going to go a trip into the Hawza section for a little bit, but I will make it, inshallah, as easy as possible for you to understand. It's 3-4 points only that I'm going to mention, and then we can prove the existence of Allah through the point that He is the complete perfection. And we're still in the same subject, going in the same line. So the proof says the following. The first point is that al-insan ya'shaq al-kamal al-mutlaq. The human being desires and loves the absolute perfection. And there's no doubt in that. This is what I was talking about the whole time so far, till now. So al-insan ya'shaq al-kamal al-mutlaq, number one. Number two is this one, and this is the hard part. I hope that inshallah you will follow me. It says al-ashiq wal-ma'shuq mafhuman mutadayifan wal-mutadayifan mutakafi'ani quwwatan wa fa'lan. I know it sounds a bit hard, but I'm going to explain it in an easy way, inshallah. Remember yesterday when I said that when we say that Allah Azza wa Jal, He is a creator, that means that there needs to be a creation. And when I say creator, automatically your mind says that there needs to be a creation. If somebody is a creator, that means there needs to be a creation. When I say there's a creation, that means that there has to be a creator. Another example, when I say up, you automatically understand that there has to be down. Up doesn't exist if down doesn't exist. So you cannot understand up without knowing the meaning of down. When I say down, you automatically know that there is something that is up. Another example, when I say alla, you understand there has to be a ma'lul. When I say there is a cause, you understand that there needs to be an effect. You cannot understand the meaning of cause without understanding the meaning of effect. And when I say there is an effect, you automatically understand that there needs to be a cause. This is al-alla and al-ma'lul. When I say alla, you automatically understand that there needs to be a ma'lul. So same thing when we talk about al-ashiq and al-ma'shuq. When I say there is a ashiq, that means al-ma'shuq needs to be there. When somebody is loving or loves or is a lover, that means there is somebody who's being loved. Otherwise it doesn't work. You cannot say there's somebody who loves something but there's nothing exists on the other side. So when I say ashiq, there has to be ma'shuq. This is basically what al-mutadayifan means. That you cannot understand one without the other part. Okay? And these mutadayifan are always on the same level. Okay, so when we say there is a Allah, that means there is a ma'lul. When I say there is up, that means there is something that's down. When I say there is a creator, that means there is a creation. When I say there is a ashiq, that means there is a ma'shuq. Okay? So we said that al-insan, in the first point, we said al-insan ya'shaq al-kamal al-mutlaq. Al-insan loves the complete perfection. The second point now means that since the human being loves al-kamal al-mutlaq, the complete perfection, that means the complete perfection needs to exist. Because these are mutadayifan. Okay? And these mutadayifan have they're on the same level always. So if the ashq exists, that means the ma'shuq exists. If the lover exists, then the beloved exists too. So al-insan ya'shaq al-kamal al-mutlaq, al-kamal al-ashiq wal-ma'shuq mutadayifan, then we come to the third point. So since the human being loves the complete perfection, that means the complete perfection exists. And the complete perfection is nothing else except Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? Halla, if you want later on in the Q&A, I can clarify it more if it's not clear. But this is one of the proofs that we can say that Allah Azza wa Jal exists through this proof. And if I want to make it more clear a little bit, I can say that imagine there's a wall and there's a piece of metal. Okay? And then you see it moving. That means on the other side, there's a magnet that makes it moves. Since it's moving, that means there's something that is making it move. It's not going to move by itself with nothing. So same thing, when we have a feeling, when we are looking for the complete perfection, that means that there is something that is calling us to Him. The complete perfection is calling us. Otherwise we wouldn't be looking for it and searching for it. طيب, I hope it is clear, inshallah. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. طيب. So, like I said so far, we are all looking for the complete perfection, which is Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. Regardless of what we do, regardless of what the others do, they are all looking for the same thing. So now, how can we find Allah Azza wa Jal? If you want to go to somebody's house, how do you get to his house? Nowadays, he sends you location, address, navigation, it's easy. But back in the day, they would look into the map, or he would tell him, you know what, when you reach that store, make a left, on that street, go right, when you see the blue house, make a left again. That's how it was back in the day. So the best one to tell you how to reach him is the one that you're looking for in the first place. So since we are looking for Allah and the complete perfection, the best way to reach Him is for Him to tell us how we can reach Him. But Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't speak to us directly. So what does He do? He sends us a messenger. He sends us messengers, not only one messenger. And this is actually one of the examples as well. When I say messenger, that means he has a message. There cannot be a messenger with no message, correct? So Allah sends us messengers. These messengers come with a message. And this is religion. Religion is only Allah's guidance to us and to tell us, you know, you're looking for something. I created you in a way that you look for the complete perfection. So I will show you how you can reach the complete perfection. Because every one of us would like to have unlimited power, unlimited strength, unlimited knowledge. No one can deny this. So since we're looking for the complete perfection, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, I sent you my prophet, I sent you my messengers with a message, so that you can know that perfection is only found in me. I created this world. There are perfections in this world, but they're limited perfections. So don't be deceived. So Allah Azza wa Jal, when He sends us His messengers with a message, He sent them, and this is religion to us. This is why we're religious. Because we're letting the one who created us guide us and show us the path and how we should live life. So, we need the religion to understand our worldly life and to understand how things are going, since Allah Azza wa Jal, He's the one that created everything. Without religion, we'd be experimenting and guessing. Maybe this is right, maybe this is wrong, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. I mean, this could be one of the reasons why we reached the stage we reach nowadays, with some things going on that we cannot understand and explain. A few years ago, things weren't accepted. Now they're accepted. Maybe people are bored, they're trying something new, so they come up with things that no one can really understand yet or follow. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. But Since people are bored, yalla, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this. Yalla, they want to bring new trends, even if it's things that are completely against everything that humanity knows. Like, anyway, so having a religion relieves us. We don't have to try here, try there to find out what's right and what's wrong. We just trust Allah Azza wa Jal. He tells us this is correct, this is right, this is wrong, this is what you should do, this is how you should treat yourself and others, this is perfection, there's no perfection in this, no perfection in that. Just follow me and you will be guided. So this is religion to us. But the problem is that we don't see religion in this way. We think religion is a hobby. Some of us, yeah. You know, they like to go horseback riding, they like to swim, they like to watch movies, and they like religion as well. So yeah, they actually give some time for religion. Alhamdulillah, killak zawq, shukran, that you pay attention to religion. But that's the wrong understanding. If you are religious, if you have a proper understanding of religion, then religion is not a part of your life. Your life is a part of religion. This is the proper understanding. Because if you look at the religious worldview, then let's say, according to some scholars, we have alam al-dhar, then we have alam al-dunya, then we have alam al-barzakh, alam al-akhirah. So this whole dunya, this whole life, your 60, 70 years that you're going to live on earth, they are a part of your religion. Not your religion is a part of your day where you say, no, yes, khalas, I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal. Like, no, alhamdulillah, you're doing so much. Yani, Allah thanks you for praying your daily prayer. He gave you life, He gave you all the time that you have, He gave you everything. So have a proper understanding of religion and recognize that this whole life is just a part of your religion. So we don't see religion in this way. And even if we saw it in the right way, sometimes we have a wrong understanding. We have wrong understanding because we have wrong facts about religion. And this is very dangerous because when it comes to religion, we should be careful who we take our religion from. When somebody speaks about religion, we can't just take religion from everywhere. Because I know the older generation, they take most of their information from WhatsApp. You know, these good morning messages with the hadith and the explanation. Well, who wrote that? Who said that? How is this narration authentic? Is it not authentic? Is it true? Is it not true? You can't just any video you find on social media, like just watch it, khalas, that's it, he said it, and then you build your whole religious worldview based on WhatsApp and social media. You cannot do that. Because sometimes we face wrong information. So how, masalan, for example, let me give you an example actually, because I heard that myself a lot. When it comes to the reasoning why we do not eat pork. Masalan, once I was told, yes, we don't eat pork because there's a bacteria in pork. If we eat it, it's going to harm us. But that's not true. That person who says it, I can tell him, I can ask him, do you have a proof? Bring forth ayah, riwayah, narration, anything. Do you have a proof? If you have a proof, I accept it. Khalas, I won't say anything. But if you don't have a proof, who told you that we don't eat pork because there's a bacteria in it? And if medicine nowadays, or in 100 years, if they're able to remove all the bacteria from pork, does it mean it becomes halal, we can eat it? No. So the reason of pork being haram is not because there's a bacteria that exists and lives in it. We don't know. Khalas, pork is haram, it's haram. We don't follow religion blindly, by the way. And we have proof for everything, but when it comes to details, then yes, khalas, we just trust Allah in the details. But when it comes to why does Allah exist, His attributes, why is the Prophet infallible, why this, why that, and the important things in religion, we have proofs for that. But when it comes to fiqhi things, to small details, we don't have to have a proof for anything. Because we're abd lillah, we're servants of Allah Azza wa Jal. We can't tell Him, you know what, I want to do this, yeah, but I need a proof, please tell me why. Sometimes He tells us why, sometimes Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't tell us why. It's okay, we just follow Him in this fact, in this point. طيب صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Because when we have a wrong understanding of religion, my teacher would always compare it, say this example that I want to share with you. He would say, some people have a wrong understanding of religion and they are like a cartoon drawing. You know, when you see a cartoon drawing, sometimes it's not in proportion. They have small eye, big eye. You know, sometimes they don't have a neck, big head, small body, big feet, short legs. Like, it's not in proportion. So some people, because they take their information from here and there, they're like a cartoon. But if you want to have a proper understanding of religion, it has to be in proportion. It has to be all okay, like studied well, you know, good information, then you will have a proper understanding of religion. Right, so one problem that I mentioned was that we have wrong facts. And this makes religion not very logical to a lot of people. Like, it's not logical. They say, why? I don't understand this. If that's your reason, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, because they have wrong facts. But sometimes we have correct facts, but with a wrong understanding. And for example, when it comes to hellfire, people say, how can Allah Azza wa Jal be so merciful and hellfire exists? Punishment exists. It doesn't fit. I don't think Allah will punish anyone. It's just Allah Azza wa Jal tells us in Yalla hellfire, but when we reach Akhirah, we'll all go to Jannah. So just like a game, let's say. Because they say in Allah Azza wa Jal, He's absolute mercy, and He's only mercy. And like I mentioned in one of the lectures, He is all-knowing. He is absolute perfection. He is absolute merciful. Like, everything is complete at Allah Azza wa Jal. So how can He be so merciful and yet put us in hellfire? These are correct facts. Yes, there is hellfire. Yes, He is merciful. But sometimes you have a wrong understanding. Now, how can we fix that? We tell them that, okay, if you do zoom into hellfire, and you come to somebody, present them Islam is hellfire, then yeah, you'll see like, what is this religion? How is Allah merciful and there's hellfire? But sometimes we need to zoom out. When we zoom out and see the whole image, then we have a better understanding. And for example, if I get on the screen, if I put something black, just pure black, and I tell you, look how beautiful this is. This is my painting. You're going to look at it and be like, well, I don't see anything special in that. It's just black, pure black. There's no art in this. And then, if I do zoom out slowly, and then you see the actual picture, and you look at that black space, and you recognize there was a shadow, then you'll be like, yeah, now I see the beauty of this picture. Because a picture with a shadow is nicer than a picture without a shadow. I think we all agree on that. So the shadow itself, if you zoom into that shadow, it's ugly. But if you zoom out and you look at the whole image, that black shadow that you saw was ugly now becomes really beautiful. Correct? So same thing when it comes to hellfire and other things. We tell them, hey, zoom out. Look at the religion as a whole picture and image. Do not zoom into this detail and tell me this is ugly. Zoom out, look at religion as a whole, and then tell me if it's ugly or no. Because so many people only get to heaven because of hellfire. They're scared of hellfire, that's why they worship Allah Azza wa Jal. And Imam Ali alayhi salam actually mentions that in one of his narrations, when he says that some people only worship Allah because they are afraid of His hellfire. So if you look at it from this perspective, Allah, so many people, masala, in these countries, they don't speed. They don't cross a red line because they are scared to be fined. 300 euros, they told me, 350, something like that. So no one wants to get fined, that's why they don't speed. Some people, because they don't want to get into hellfire, they worship Allah. They become religious. They don't hurt people, because they're scared of hellfire. There's other people because they like heaven, they want to go to heaven. This is what pushes them and motivates them. They worship Allah because they want heaven. Imam Ali salam's level is a different level. He says, خلاص أنا وجدتك أهلا للعبادة فعبدتك. I found you worthy of ibadah and worship, and this is why I worship you. Because you're worthy of ibadah. So this is a whole different level. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. So far, we mentioned these points, and when we talk about religion, and when we have a proper understanding of religion, and we see it in the correct way and have a good understanding, and for religion as a whole thing, then a lot of questions will be solved, a lot of problems will be solved. But also when we talk about religion, some people say, oh, if I ask you who's the religious man and woman. Most people say, khalas, the religious boy is somebody who prays, fasts, doesn't listen to music, and whatsoever, a few things, khalas, he's almost a prophet in some societies. But these are the ABC of religion. Same thing when it comes to sisters. Who's a religious sister? Alhamdulillah, when he wants to get married, she prays, she fasts, don't know music, hijab's very good, that's it. She's almost ma'asuma. But that's not it. These are ABC of religion. These worships, these muharramat, wajibat, are the first step into religion. Religion is so much more. I always talk about the subject in my private talks and chats. When I tell them, religion, yes, the worship is very essential. We cannot put the worships aside. Because some people say, you know, just akhlaq, just be good to people, even if you do not pray, it's fine. Tell them, no. You have to pray, you have to fast, you have to obey Allah and be good. You can be both. But religion is not only ibadat and worships. Religion is a lifestyle. Because if you look at the narrations in our books, you find narrations that speak about how to eat grapes, how to sleep, how to wake up, how to treat others, what to dress, how to walk. If religion was only worships and ibadat, why would they speak about these subjects? But since our narrations speak about these subjects, that means Islam is just more than worships and ibadat. Islam is a complete lifestyle. It tells you to go to swim. There's no ajr and thawab in swimming itself. We have narrations to go horseback riding. علموا أولادكم السباحة والرماية وركوب الخيل. So we have these narrations. Go horseback riding, go swimming, go this, go do that. Sit in this position, eat until don't get full when you eat. Drink water sitting during the night, standing up during the day. These narrations are trying to tell you that Islam is more than worships. Islam is a complete lifestyle. How you treat others, how you treat yourself. Some narrations like Al-Mu'min al-Qawi khayrun min al-Mu'min al-Da'if. The strong believer is better than the weak believer. What does it mean? So, but this would be a whole subject on its own and on itself. If we want to talk about Islam as a lifestyle, how is Islam a lifestyle? There's books that can be written about this subject. Let me just summarize what I've spoken about so far, so we can come to an end slowly, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. But actually, I want to add one point before I summarize the whole lecture. Because I talked about the perfection, right, and al-kamal. And some people could come and say, you know, but I know that there is kamal, there is perfection in standing up and praying Fajr or Salat al-Layl. But still, I'm not able to do that. Before I sleep, I take the intention, and khalas, I have to wake up, I want to pray Salat al-Layl. I want to pray Salat al-Fajr. So I see that this is perfection, but when I wake up the next morning at 9 a.m., I'm like, oh, I didn't wake up for Fajr. Or you woke up, but you turned off the alarm and kept sleeping. So why is that? According to what I said, once you see perfection in something, you're going to do it regardless, right? So what happens is, before you sleep, yes, you see masalan, for example, the perfection of Salat al-Fajr and Salat al-Layl, let's say at 80%, 90%. And you have the intention, inshallah, I want to wake up and I want to pray these prayers. But then when you sleep and you wake up the next morning, at that moment, these 2 minutes, the perfection of standing up and performing wudu and praying comes low, goes low to 20%, 10%, and you see sleeping more perfect in that moment, in that second, to you, to stay in bed is more perfect. That's why you don't get up and you don't pray. That's why you regret it the next day when you wake up, when you're rested, like I should have waken up and I should have prayed Salat al-Fajr and Salat al-Layl. I just wanted to add this point. Inshallah, we can talk about it more in the Q&A. So, to summarize everything, what I want to leave you with is the following. So, we all do our actions based on what we see as perfection and kamal. Once you recognize kamal and perfection in something, you are going to go for it regardless, whatever it is. Even if you're tired, even if you didn't get enough sleep. And imagine you work 20 hours a day, and then you're so tired, you don't have any power to do anything, but you receive a phone call that, you know what, you won 10 million euros right now, go pick them up. You would run to pick them up, because you saw kamal in that, so you're going to go do it. Whereas if you're completely rested and somebody tells you, you know, you lost 5 cents in Amsterdam, you're going to be like, okay, no, I'm not going to go get it. Because you don't see any perfection in that, to go all the way to Amsterdam to get these 5 cents. So anyway, once you see kamal and perfection in something, you're going to go for it, you're going to want it, you're going to work for it. But if you do not see kamal in it, then you're not going to do it. And in this world, there is no absolute perfection. The only absolute perfection is Allah Azza wa Jal, and everything that is related to Allah Azza wa Jal. So that's why we have to talk to ourselves and tell ourselves that Allah Azza wa Jal, He is the only perfection, the only complete perfection, in order for us to rest. And this is what the psychologists do when you go visit him. He only talks to you, and then you feel better, you feel relieved, you feel relaxed. He tells you, what's your problem? Tell me your problem. What do you have? He gives you some advice. What he does is only talk to you. He gives you beautiful images and pictures. And this is what the Quran Kareem does to us. When you read the Quran, when you pay attention, when you read the Quran, you're going to see that He only describes Allah, describes His attributes and what He did and what He does. So there's no real perfection except Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's why every one of us, in everything that he does, he's looking for Allah Azza wa Jal, without him knowing it. And then we mentioned the proof that Allah Azza wa Jal exists through our search and yearn and our emotions and our love for the complete perfection. And then the point about religion, that it is a way for us to recognize the real perfection, to show us the path to the real perfection, and that this is the proper understanding of religion. We should be very careful who we take our religion from, and we should have a good and real and proper understanding of religion. It has to be proportional in order for it to make sense, because otherwise it's not going to make sense to us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم صل على